Hello there everyone, jolly good day to you all. I am CC Trainor-Ling and we are RT3, or Review Team 3. We are back to review another episode of Season 4's Littlest Pet Shop. With me are my colleagues. First we have...
We have Feem, and I will talk about the episode. It is possibly perfect governess.
And over here we also have...
Hello everybody, this is Littlest Bacon. Instead of trying a British accent like everyone else, I'm just going to screw the joke up and just go all southern like. Oh jeez. Oh yes, but this is Littlest Bacon. Waka waka.
Choose your episode.
And now, my dear viewers, now that we know which episode we shall be looking at, how about we check it out?
Check it out!
Today's episode is Petnapped. The plot here is Blythe, Young-Mi, and Zoe try to save a Spanish Cocker Spaniel named Nutmeg Dash from her imposter owner, who stole both her and other valuable possessions from a mansion in downtown city. At LPS, the other pets reenact the season finale to the Duchess of Lancashire Lane after Russell accidentally deletes it from their DVR. But they are forced to make up the story as they go along when they realize they're about to act out an episode Russell has already seen. Well, loves, now we can move on to our positives of the episode. First one I have is Young-Mi. Now, I really... sorry, just had a little bit of British in me there for a moment. I really loved Young-Mi in this episode because she has shown us that she, much like Blythe, is able to communicate with the pets in her own way without actually knowing what they're saying in human talk that Blythe can understand. Being able to understand Nutmeg Dash, even without her barking or anything like that, you instantly saw that connection, and it was made clear that these two were meant to be together as pet and owner.
Yeah, it had this connection that I thought was really... It was good, I guess, because, well, we have to, do this plot, this overarching plot down here, instead of, doing it in the background like another one. But, I don't know, I thought it was nice.
I'm glad we finally got to see which pet Young-Mi is going to have. And we saw it. It's a cute little doggy, and it's adorable. Yeah. I think it's good that, because it does show that Young-Mi can communicate. It shows how most humans communicate with their pets, because not everyone has that. Well, no one other than Dr. Doolittle and Blythe have that ability to speak to pets. So it's nice to see a pet that they don't speak to. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of referencing back to a previous LPS episode of
Pet sounds.
Yes, pet sounds, where each person has their own way of, interacting with their pets, even though they all don't have the ability, like that Blythe does. It's pretty interesting to have, like, Young-Mi know with Nutmeg Dash and have this connection.
But speaking of Nutmeg Dash, she's also one of our positives. This little dog, even though we barely understand her, we know what she needs from Young-Mi and Blythe and Zoe when she's kidnapped and has to, be rescued from these thieves from that mansion.
Which, okay, I don't know if anyone knows, but this dog is really smart. As soon as it gets put on the truck, it, leaves a trail and, gives them their email, has, a phone with GPS to track them, make sure that, they have all the means to find this dog. Smoke signals, or did I imagine that part?
These are the LPS pets, so I guess they wear clothes and stuff, so they're not like normal dogs and rabbits and stuff, so I guess it's plausible in this case.
I asked Nutmeg Dash to help me with my calculus.
That Nutmeg Dash is one small puppy. But yeah, and Nutmeg Dash was actually pre-spoiled on the app, actually, because that happens a lot. And she's really cute and very smart. Like you said, very smart little doggy. Yeah.
And she's all Young-Mi's. At long last, Young-Mi finally gets her pet, so that's something good. We finally know, again, she has her pet. It's a dog, Spanish Cocker Spaniel, and it just works. Just seeing those two together, it does look like the perfect connection right there. The perfect pairing of master and pet.
missed it.
yeah, but that is nice that we finally got that overarching plot point done, because I was a little bit worried, honestly, that they weren't gonna do this till really last minute. So hopefully we'll have more episodes with Nutmeg, so we get to know her character a little bit better. Because this is only really sort of brief, we didn't really get to know much about her.
That is one of the problems of that episode. We didn't really get to see much of this new character that we'll probably see later on in the season. Mainly, the other pets of the episode were the focus, and that leads into the next positive. The pets in the B-plot willing to reenact the season's finale to the finally seeable Duchess of Lancashire Lane. It's about time you finally got to see what the show looked like.
Yeah, it's interesting now that we finally got to see the show, and man, is it boring. I really had to give the pets major props for even acting this out, and even doing good improv there.
They did they were quite funny. The pets were funny in this one. The butler! Yeah, he's hilarious. And then Minka, when she says, I can't even cook. Then what have we been eating this whole time? I don't know.
The whole episode just seemed like a little M. Night Shyamalan plot twist. The whole season finale, that's what it was.
What a twist.
Yeah, basically. It's so boring.
Wish there was that many twists in the real Downton Abbey. If every episode was like that, like the underground casino thing, that actually sounded really interesting. I would actually love to see that in some TV series.
We learned so much in this one episode. Man, I'm just expecting if it goes to the next season, like they'll be like,
Previously, on the last episode of Duchess of Lancashire Lane.
They say all the stuff that happens with explosions and all this cool stuff.
Relax, Michael Bay.
No, but then after all that, it's like, oh no, and then... I say, more tea.
Please.
Yes,
It's just so boring that it's actually hilarious. But that is one of the problems of this episode. You're trying to do a boring reenactment for a boring series, so now we can lead right into those negatives. One of my problems with the B-plot is not only for the fact that once again we're focusing on Russell, more or less, it was sort of centered on him and it was all about him and the pets wanting to appease him just because of one episode that he could have just watched at any other time and probably held off on his doll meeting. I'll get to that in a little bit. But the one thing that really got me here was how in the finale, when Russell finds out what really happened after the pets told him that they were just making up stuff because they printed off the wrong recap to the last season's finale, Russell has the nerve to say that it's boring. Now, the pets say that Duchess of Lancashire Lane is boring, but Russell's the only one who likes it. It just seems weird that he has the nerve to say that it was a boring finale to a show that only he likes. A boring finale to a boring show, but he still loves the show anyway.
I thought that was a little bit questionable myself, because I was thinking, I thought the joke was that Russell really liked this show, so I don't really know why they decided to make him do that. I mean, I guess they wanted to make him do that, that, I hate to say this, but cliched plot of him preferring their version of the pre-existing thing. I'm sorry, shows have done that before, and it's one of those plots I'm just like, yep, seen it. Usually LPS is good at adding more to it, but I don't honestly think they added that much more to it to make it different from most other shows that have done the same plot.
I guess he preferred their version over the show's version, then decided to make some fan fiction thing.
A fan fiction part of his doll meeting, which I also want to talk about right now. The doll meeting, the Duchess of Lancashire Lane meeting with tea and crumpets and all these pets we've seen from the past. Tootsie, Scout Carrie, Mary Frances, and Digby. Now, they said at the beginning of this episode that the meetings are so boring that the pets just never noticed it. Really? We're gonna go with that excuse? I mean, they're right there in the day camp, plain as day, and no one's gonna say, oh, hey, look, it's Scout Carrie again. Or Zoe's like, oh, look, it's that handsome Digby again. no one really paid that much attention? I really don't buy into that.
Oh, look, it's Mary Frances.
Yeah, I had to use the word convenient, but it felt a little bit too convenient. It's just like they just pulled that out of nowhere. That, oh yeah, that apparently he does these meetings and stuff. But why did they even make the pets say that they didn't pay it? I mean, I guess you could say that they didn't really pay attention because it's the fact that Duchess of Lancashire Lane, but you could just say they could have at least pointed out that, oh yeah, we remember those meetings or something. Because then it just sounds stupid that they didn't even notice that they were there. Like Cece said, like, Zoe not noticing Digby. Come on.
I really don't buy into it. That really did knock the episode down at least a point right there, because if you're gonna say that you have a meeting every week at the day camp with these 4 other pets, and no one is there to see them, there's something really off here. I'm not trying to hate it, but I guess I kinda am, because it's so obvious that how could you not notice it?
Yeah. It's, like, especially Digby, though, because I thought Zoe had a thing for him. Why is she just conveniently not there whenever they have the meetings or something? I don't know.
And they all just forgot that Scout Carey was a spy.
Yeah. That was a little bit. But yes, another thing about the doll meetings, I hope you don't mind if I go into this one, but the pets reenacting the episode for Russell for the sake of him talking about it in the doll meeting, and then they forgot that he was going to talk about it. What? That doesn't make any sense. Because the whole point of them reenacting it was so he could talk about it in the meeting. But then at the end they're like, oh no, he has to talk about it. It's like, guys, you knew that he had to talk about it, so why did you then forget that he had to talk about it? Because it just confused the hell out of me. I was like, why? What?
Yeah, it's just like, wait, he's gonna talk about that thing that he said he was gonna talk about?
Yeah, like, that's what, gosh, that's why they said that they would do the thing, and it's like, they completely forget that that's what they were doing. Like, I mean, maybe you could argue that they were getting too into it, but I don't buy that either. That just seems, again, too convenient.
It is kind of convenient, and I wouldn't buy it also. But speaking of not buying things, what about those crooks? Or those guys that were stealing things?
Those thieves.
Yes, those thieves. Those, I swear, like, straight to TV movie crooks or whatever. They were, oh man.
And Blythe Young Me managed to find them, and Young Me is pretty sure, in fact, I know that she knows that these were the thieves that robbed that William Stacy mansion and took all that stuff and that rare Spanish Cocker Spaniel. But my question is, if she knew about this and Blythe believed her, why didn't they just call the police right off the bat when they didn't even notice these girls outside the building? The cops could have surrounded the place and got the thieves. There you go.
Yeah, that is something, because I guess it wouldn't have been as interesting if they did that, but come on. It's like, they knew what, because Youngie points out that she knows what it is, what these crooks, what they've stolen. It's like, if they didn't know about it, then fair enough, but they did, so they should have, called straight away, because, them going into there, they actually endangered their lives. They didn't know if these crooks have any weapons on them or anything. I know it's a kid's show, but in real life, you wouldn't just go into a building and freaking and be like, can we have our dog back? It's just...
Yeah.
They either could have gotten hurt, or they probably could have been taken hostage.
Yeah.
Good lesson.
Yeah.
But it's like they decide to like dress up and like, I don't even, again, if they were like just the idea that they actually fell for their disguises at first.
It's Team Rocket logic right there.
Yep.
Because they always, Ash and the gang always seem, they look exactly like Team Rocket, but can't be them. Also, I noticed that Blythe's name was Norma Jean, Was that based off Marilyn Monroe? Because that's what I thought when I heard the name.
It was something standalone.
Standalone.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm thinking that the conversation they had before they called the police was like, what's the number for 911? I forgot. It's just like, I think that's what happened. And then they were just like, well, I guess we'll just try to do it ourselves.
And then young me's like, Blythe, why you acting so cray-cray?
Yeah.
But then they finally do call 911 after the crooks reveal them under those disguises, and they actually see them calling the cops, but the thieves don't even try and stop them. They just go back inside and they try to quickly, but they're really not moving quickly, to move all of the possessions out of that building before the cops come. First of all, if you have the cops called on you, why don't you just try and make a clean getaway, so that way you have the cops leading on something else, they can find the possessions, but they won't find you, because you'll be long gone out of downtown city!
Why the heck didn't they just take Nutmeg Dash? Because she was the most valuable item, so they technically had, I swear they had her in their hands or something. They just ran off with Nutmeg Dash, and then there. They would have still got plenty of money for her, so... they just that would have probably actually been more interesting if they'd ran off with them. They could have tried chasing them to try and get her back or something, I don't know. And second, just how long does it take the police to get to the scene of a crime in progress? How long was it? Like 5, 10, 15 minutes? Nah, man. The police should have been there in like maybe 5 minutes to stop these guys. 5 minutes. Logic.
I love it. It's like, they call them and they're like, oh, we need the cops over here. And then the cops are, oh, they're in the ghetto. Oh, man. It'll take us like 30 minutes or 40.
We just have to prepare ourselves for what might happen.
And second, something else I wanted to bring up is that, they see Blythe calling the cops and they're like, dang.
She's calling the cops. I guess there's nothing we can do, like, stop her? Yeah, stop her. And catch her? Yeah, catch her. And turn ourselves in. No, not that.
Yeah, they could. They could have thrown something at her. Like, they could have grabbed something, try and knock the phone out of her hand and grab
like a gun.
Yeah.
It's something.
Gun.
Hey, they're calling the cops!
But no, while we wait for the cops to show up, Blythe, Young Me, and Zoe take it upon themselves to go back inside that little building, or large building, and try to get Nutmeg Dash back themselves, but in the process, this leading into my next negative here, they end up destroying a lot of the valuables inside the place as if it were one of those horribly made for TV movies that involve kids trying to stop these adults from doing something bad. They're causing more damage than good to all this expensive property.
Yeah, but I guess they've all seen Home Alone, so they were like, let's brush up on our Macaulay Culkin skills. And
That's exactly what I thought when I saw this. Like, it was like Home Alone, except they destroyed valuable items.
I'm gonna be honest, I will give the episode an extra point if they would have had one of the, like, either Blythe, Young Me, or the dog make that Macaulay Culkin face.
Yeah, like and the scream or something.
Oh,
yeah.
That would have been just hilarious, and I would have probably given them, like you said, I would have given them extra points for that. Or maybe they could have actually made the crooks kind of look like Marv and Harry. That would have been pretty funny.
That would have been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so bad that it's funny. That whole plot is just so bad, it's so illogical, but it's funny. It's just funny to laugh at.
Not to laugh with, just to laugh at.
Yeah.
I guess we can wrap it up.
Not at the moment.
For me, Petnapped is one of those episodes where you really are engaged in one plot because it starts something off great, and then as you go further on in that plot, you find a lot of things that don't work out. At least in terms of logic and being able to solve the conflict in a much more, I guess, appropriate way. I understand that
Conflict has to happen.
there's a way about resolving it and making it feel like this conflict is something to be learned from, or something like that. I'm not sure what the lesson was here, but the one thing I will say about the human plot in Petnapped is that we finally got a pet for young me, Nutmeg Dash. These two were made for each other right from the start. I hope we see more of Nutmeg later on. If we're just gonna treat her like a one-off pet that we're never gonna see ever again in young me's life, then, well, so be it. But as of now, it's a really nice concept, and I really hope they push forward with it. When it comes to the B plot with the pets, again, another Russell-focused plot in another episode in Season 4. And again, I'm not liking the idea of Russell always getting the attention. But it was sort of more reared towards the other pets, if anything else. And then putting on their little improv episode of the Duchess of Lancashire Lane, it was sort of hilarious, it was sort of boring at the same time. But I guess that's the whole point of Petnapped. It's so boring and really bad, but it's actually fun enough to watch and say, ha! I get it. It's just a joke. The whole episode's one big joke, but it's all for the sake of friendships and getting a new friend and just having some tea and crumbles and all things like that. So, overall, Petnapped, it's average at best. It's not great. It's really close to being terrible, but not by too much. But like I said, it's just average. So for Petnapped, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Right, let's get on to my final thoughts, darlings. And I must start this with this episode was it wasn't bad, it wasn't particularly good either. It was just decent. There was the pets had a really fun plot, I guess, with their little Duchess of Lancashire Lane impersonations and whatnot. But I thought that it was just a tad predictable in some places, with Russell thinking that their episode was better than the actual episode, because that's what happens in a lot of TV shows, it seems. And also, Nutmeg Dash was adorable and everything, and young me getting a new pet and that plot arc being sorted, that was good. But the negatives in this episode, they did drag it down a little bit for me. The doll meeting issue with Russell, I thought was a little bit silly, I should say. And just this episode was just a little bit. It was okay. But if they'd messed up any more with other things, it probably would have been a lot worse than what it is. I'm just gonna have to wrap this up with a 7 out of 10.
Well, howdy everybody, I'm back again. Oh, just gonna give my score. I'll make it short and sweet. If that ending didn't suck so much, I'm sorry for using profanity, but again, if this episode just would have had a better ending, and maybe not so much stupid villains, just felt like a Macaulay Culkin film all over again. I mean, I just saw that film yesterday, but overall for me, I'll give this episode a 6 out of 10. Too much Russell for me.
That takes care of the first half of Season 4 to the final season of Littlest Pet Shop. Be sure to tune in for the latter half of this season, as we review the next episode, episode 14 of Season 4, called Steamed. So, we hope to see you there. But until next time, this has been Review Team 3, or RT3, and we'll see you all next time. Peace out, home slices.
Goodbye, everyone.
Well, of course, pet shoppers, we'll be seeing you, and you. Don't forget about the things you've done in the next episode. So thanks, and say it with me now, waka waka. Thanks again.
Blimey.
Hoo-wee, that dog alive.
Crackerjack.